everyone, I'm Nancy, Pampered with Diamonds, and today I am working on my heart canvas for Heart Health February with the crafty chef, Laura. So if you're not familiar with her channel, you should go check her out and her story on why she's doing the heart month, not only because it's Valentine's Day, but it's near and dear to her heart. So I am also doing a heart canvas. As you can see, it's a Diamond Dotz, and I am using the Diamond Art Club putty, a Diamond Art Club pen. Actually, I don't know that that's a Diamond Art Club pen. I think it came with my storage that my husband got me. I think it was a pen that came in it. So, and I'm going to, I don't like to use putty in my multi-placer. For some reason in this environment it becomes really sticky, but I am going to use Diamond Art Club's Heart Putty for this canvas. So let me get that ready to go. All right, let me put those aside. So I'm going to start at the bottom of my heart canvas. And I'm just going to pull this back, and I'm going to put this roller there so that it will keep it back. So I am starting out with the diagonal line, which is color 8016. It's a pink, and let me see if I can find it. Here we go. It is this color right here. And I am using the tray that came with my storage container. So I wanted to talk about my heart issue. Yep, I have a heart issue. I have a couple of things going on. I have a tachycardia, and I have a dysrhythmia. So my heart likes to stop beating randomly. I found out about it I guess it was about, those of you that know me know I really can't walk and chew gum, so I'm trying to do this and tell you a story at the same time. But it's not a fake story. This is a true story. I was making cookies, and all of a sudden, my left arm and my jaw was getting numb, and I also had pain. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on with me? So we had people working on our roof, and I say people, just family and friends. We had people working on our roof. That was back in the day when we did a lot of work to our house ourselves. And I went out there and said, hey, I don't feel very good, guys. Can someone take me to the ER? And a friend of mine said, yes, I will take you. He said, my back isn't that great and I shouldn't be lifting and stuff on the roof, so I'm going to take Nancy to the ER and you guys continue. So my husband was like, okay, sounds good. Now this is a really good family friend, and the ironic thing was his wife stayed to work on the roof, and he took me to the ER. His wife is like a jack of all trades. There's nothing that she won't do. She gets her hands dirty in everything. So he decided to take me to the ER. So I got in the car, and at the time my husband was active duty military. So we went to the base and we went to the ER. Walked in, told them that I was diabetic and possible heart attack, chest pain. Not sure what it is. I've never felt it before. And right away, they take us to the back. We get right in. Mention chest pain, you get right in. It's like they don't play around. So we went in the back, and he hooked me up right away for an EKG, and didn't see anything wrong. And they did some blood tests. Again, the blood test came back all negative, and they told me that I was having a panic attack. So they asked me what I was doing, and I told them I was making cookies for everybody that was working on the roof. And they said, yeah, you were having a panic attack. So to get my blood pressure down, they made me take this pill. They weren't going to let me go home until my blood pressure dropped. So I took this pill. I don't even really know what pill it was. They're the medical team, and I trusted because I don't have a medical degree, so I trusted them. So I take this pill, and they monitor me, and they still have me hooked up for the EKG. They're monitoring, and they're monitoring my blood pressure. And about an hour or so, they come back, all my blood work comes back, everything is good. And I said, yep, you had a panic attack, and this is what you do the next time you have a panic attack. They told me, don't stress. If you feel like you're having a panic attack or a heart attack, just take a deep breath and pay special attention to, your arms, your heartbeat, that kind of stuff. And I said, okay. And well, actually, they admitted me Guys, this was a long time ago. I'm getting visits confused. They admitted me and they wanted to watch me for observation. So the next day, I stay there the whole night. Uneventful. You know, nothing happened. They didn't see anything. I didn't act weird in any way. My heart was normal overnight. Nothing, weird. So they send me home and they tell me to contact my heart doctor. And at this time, I did not have a heart doctor. So they assigned one to me. So I now have a heart doctor. My heart doctor, when I get home, I was home, I don't know, 2-3 days. I get a phone call from the clinic. It's my new heart doctor. He said, hi, I need to make an appointment with you. And we need to get you in here. I said, okay. And he says, I see you went to the ER for a heart problem. Give me a little information. So he asked me a little bit about family history and stuff like that. Now, my mother was a very sick lady. She had everything but cancer. And he says, are you diabetic? And I give him my history and told him yes. Unfortunately, but I seem to be following in my mother's footsteps. And he said, okay. He said, so I want you to come in for a stress test. It says on your emergency room paperwork that you had a panic attack. How often do you have panic attacks? I said, that was my first one. I've never had a panic attack before. He's like, okay, well, I want you to come in for an exam. I said, okay. Schedule the appointment. I go in. And he says, based on your family history, did the ER ask you any questions about your family history? I said, no. He said, okay, tell me again. This is the heart doctor still. He says, tell me again what sent you to the ER. And I told him I was making homemade cookies and I started getting pain in my arm, jaw, and I guess I just panicked. I've never felt this before. He said, okay. He goes, I see they gave you, it was a depression medication that they typically give to people who are depressed. I don't remember the name of it. And he goes, how many of those have you taken? I said, I only took the one so that I could go home, because they wouldn't let me go home till my blood pressure went down, until I was calm. He said, okay. He said, don't take any more. He said, I want you to come in for a stress test. He said, okay. He says, I don't think you're depressed. He says, let me explain why I don't think you had an anxiety attack, a panic attack. Because depressed people normally do not make homemade cookies, because when you make homemade cookies, you're planning on seeing people, or people are coming to see you. So I don't think you had a panic attack. He said you have a strong family history of heart problems. So let's get this stress test done. I want you to come in. And I said, okay. We schedule the stress test. I go in for the stress test. Now, those of you that have had a stress test, typically you get on a treadmill and you run. Well, you start out walking, gradually they increase the speed, and then they determine whether or not your heart can handle the stress from this walk on this treadmill. So I have this appointment for my stress test. I show up, and there is a team of people in that room before I started my stress test. I think there was 3 medical doctors there and a nurse, and they get me started on my treadmill. And I think, I'm on it. It's going. I'm running, walking fast, and all of a sudden, I kid you, it was probably 20 seconds, 25 seconds. All of a sudden, I hear, "Get her off of that now." And I'm like, what's going on? So they shut the machine down, have me sit down, ask me how I feel. And I said, I'm feeling fine. He goes, "Did you feel what just happened?" And I said, "Well, my heart was racing. It's because I'm walking." He's like, "No." He said, "Your heart was just about to shut off and go into AFib." I was like, "Oh, is that bad?" And he said, yes. He said, "We need to do a nuclear stress test on you. So you need to come back. I don't want you doing any exercising until we figure out what's going on with your heart. You should not have reacted that way. So he says, let's schedule that nuclear stress test." I'm like, okay. Now, I had no idea, guys, what a nuclear stress test is. I know now. But, so we schedule the appointment, and you have to have somebody with you. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? So we get there for the appointment, and where we are in the waiting area, waiting to see the doctor, they have me get undressed. They give me those eloquent gowns that they give you, and so I'm pretty much naked, with the exception of my beautiful gown. So The nuclear stress test is where they hook you up to an IV, a heart monitor, and there's a team of like 4 or 5 people in the room, and the IV is a bag full of, I just say, chemicals, poisons, okay? And you lay on the table and they pump you with this chemical, which your body reacts to it by increasing your heart rate. And therefore, it increases your breathing. When your heart rate goes up, your breathing goes up. So the doctor tells me this bag of IV that is going to be injected into your system is going to make you feel sick. It's going to make you feel nauseated. It's going to make you lightheaded. It's going to make you feel dizzy. It's going to just make you feel horrible. And I said, what if it doesn't? What if I feel fine? He goes, let's put it this way. If you still feel fine after this starts, then it's probably leaking onto the floor. I said, oh. He said, the good thing is once this test is done, and it'll only last about 5-10 minutes, if that long. Once we get the results, we're waiting for some kind of results to show. I said, okay. He said, once the test is done, you shouldn't feel any of those symptoms that you had during the test. I said, okay. Now, granted, it's been quite a few years since I had this test done. And so I'm on the table. They start the test. My mouth gets dry, tastes like metal. And I'm like, I don't feel good. And they said, yep, you're not supposed to feel good, remember? Just relax. So I'm on the table. They're doing their thing. And the guy next, I guess he's an anesthesiologist. I don't remember. He just might be a nurse. And he's like, okay, do you feel your heart racing? And I'm like, yeah. He says, okay. He says, take a deep breath and keep going. And I can feel my heart beating in my chest. And I said, my heart is really racing. And they said, I know, we can see that. That's what we want. And so after, it felt like 20 minutes, but it probably was only, I don't know, 4 minutes, 5 minutes tops. And they stopped the test. And now the whole time I'm laying on the table, because in the nuclear stress test, you don't physically walk. They simulate you doing an exercise. So they stop the test. They unplug me, and I'm feeling shaky. So they let me sit, and they told me to drink a lot of water that day, which I did. They said you got to flush your system out. I did. I drank a lot of water that day. And the doctor says, I will call you with the results. I said, okay. So while I'm waiting for the results, the doctor also had me do an echocardiogram, which is a sonogram of the heart. And so I got that done. That was nothing. That was, if you've ever had a sonogram, you know, it really was nothing. Nothing to stress about. No pain. So I'm waiting for both of those results to come back, waiting to hear from the doctor. I'm fine. I don't have any issues. The doctor calls me. We go make an appointment. And he says, we got all your results back. You have a leaky valve. He said the valve is not that horrible. He said a lot of people have leaky valves. It's just something a lot of people aren't even diagnosed with, but a lot of people are walking around with it. He says, so you can live your whole life with that leaky valve and not have any issues. He says, you have a dysrhythmia of the heart, tachycardia of the heart. And I said, okay, what does that mean? He says, well, your heart stops. Your resting heart rate. My resting heart rate, guys, when I started paying attention to it, was anywhere from 80 to 90. That was resting. And those of you that know, that's not a resting heart rate. So because my resting heart rate was so high, when I would go to stand up to walk, to go for a walk, to do an activity, to make cookies, mix cookies, anything that exhorts, anything that would make you do something, mixing batter, walking from one place to another. When your heart is at a resting heart rate, it's gonna go up to accommodate what you're doing. You're not going to be able to mix cookies with a resting heart rate. You're not going to be able to walk around the block with a resting heart rate. Your heart rate's naturally going to go up. So what my heart was doing was going from 80 or 90 resting to over 100 within a minute of me getting up to do something. And it would reboot itself like a computer. My heart would shut off, start itself back up, and what the doctor said we needed to do was slow my resting heart rate down. We needed to get my heart rate, my resting heart rate, to a resting heart rate, not an activity resting heart rate. So he said there's a couple of things we could do. He said we could put a defibrillator in. We can, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want them to open my chest. And he wanted me to see a surgeon. So I went to a surgeon, and he said, let me ask you, how uncomfortable is your heart rate? Do you know what this surgery entails. And I said, no. He said, well, he said, once we open your chest, you're not going to be the same. He said, yours is minor. He goes, I can see your doctor's already told you that. Yeah, and he did. He did tell me it was minor. But that was an option to have a defibrillator put in. And I told him I didn't want that. And he agreed. He said, there are exercises you can do to keep your heart rate normal, in addition to medication. So they did put me on a medication to help my heart with a lower heart rate. So we did that. I wanted to try that first. I wanted to try the medication for the heart rate because I really didn't want anybody opening my chest. My doctor had also told me, once they open your chest, you're never the same. So naturally, I wanted to try to do this without them doing surgery on me. So we tried a medication to lower my heart rate. And that has been working, along with exercises. There are exercises they told me to do. If my heart starts racing, they want me to put my hands over my head, take a couple of deep breaths, and to not, just to relax. Relax the heart. So that is what I've been doing this whole time. My heart rate has been great. They did have to change my medication once. I was on it for quite a few years, and my body just got used to it, and it wasn't doing anything. So that was something we changed. We had to get a new medication. But other than that, that is what we discovered with my heart. So my heart shuts off on its own. It's just pretty cool, don't you think? So, yeah. Do you guys have a normal heart? I do not. But my heart is good. It is very good. I have not had any issues since. It's been fine. I still am not allowed to run, which I'm okay with. I'm really okay with no running. And you know what the old saying is, if you see me running, you better run too. Because something could be chasing me. Or is chasing me, I should say. Okay, guys. Well, pay attention to your heart. And you only get one. You only get one heart. So this is turning out pretty. Whoops, here we go. So what are you doing for February? Are you doing a heart healthy canvas? Let me know in the comments if you're doing one. Come on, flip. It's the last one. All right, hold on. Let me see the equals. Got one little equal sign in there. Yay! And then these guys are ABs. Into these right here. So let's get those done. It's coming along. One more. And then I'm going to get out of here, guys. Okay. Beautiful. Remember, be kind to all you meet. And thank you for watching. And again, tell me what you're doing for Valentine's Day, for Heart Month. Be kind.